Be Sure to Cook. Today we're going to be doing Meatball Subs. We're going to do everything homemade. And I'm going to add a little Creole seasoning inside of there. It's going to give this a great stir. Look at that, guys. I am good to go. I hear you. Yes. Oh my God, that is wonderful. So, that was about 4 to 5. Come back. Bye. Welcome back to another episode of Be Sure to Cook. Today we're making Asian style baby back ribs. So stay tuned and let's do this. Okay, before we start, we're going to make our marinade because this is going to soak all night. So I've got a large bowl, and inside this large bowl, I'm going to add a half cup of apple cider vinegar, teaspoon of, this is a whole teaspoon of meat tenderizer, unsalted. We got to break, this stuff is to break down all those fibers in that meat to make that meat real nice and tender. And I'm using a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. I'm going to stir this up and dissolve this sugar into all of this. So I just want us to soak, and I'm going to leave this for 24 hours, all night long. To give it a little kick, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of red crushed pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of mustard, ground mustard, and the same with Mrs. Dash blend, and ground garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of that. We're just going to stir all this up. Get all these flavors going in here. And this is it. Now we got to do is take off the back skin of the rib, the baby back, rinse it up, and then we're going to put this over it and soak it into a container overnight in the refrigerator. Okay, I've got me 1 strip of baby back rib. I'm going to open this and we're going to take it to the sink and we're going to rinse it off good. We're going to bring it back and we're going to cut the skin off and we're going to marinate this. This is going to be a succulent rib. Okay, here we go. Come on. Okay, I've got a couple of paper towels over this meat to dry out the meat and the back part because I can't be cutting off silver skin when it's soaking wet from its bath. And I'm going to put it on my board. And let me show you what I'm talking about with the silver skin. It's this part right here is what I'm talking about. I'm going to have to get up underneath here and I'm going to have to loosen up this skin. And I'm going to have to rip this skin all the way back. I'm getting up underneath the bone and I am getting this silver skin and I'm going to pull this silver skin all the way back. See how I'm doing it? What I did is I got up underneath the bone and I came up underneath the silver skin, which is this. If I'm getting up underneath the bone here, I'm getting up underneath the silver skin, loosen up this, and it just starts to rip really great all the way through. And then you don't have that tough meat at the bottom. And there we go. By the way, I seen some extra fatness on that rib. But you know I don't want any of this fat, but some of it has to be there. It renders off. So I'm not going to go debone all of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this bad boy in this pan. Ain't this cute and neat? It's just a little pan that I had got. I'm going to stick it in here and I'm going to cover this up with my juice, put a top on it, put it in the refrigerator for a whole 24 hours overnight. Forget it and let it soak. Okay, so I've got my rib on the back side, but you can. I'm going to put it over on the front side because when this marinade goes down, which we got it here, I want it to cover all of the bottom. Now, if you want to make more of this marinade, just double your recipe. You know, double everything. Double your recipe, put a little bit more sugar in it, and then you could fill it all the way up. But I say, hey, it just needs to be marinated and make sure it touches the meat. Why waste a good marinade? Okay, it has been a good 24 hours out of the refrigerator. And then this is our rib. We're gonna get rid of all this juice. We're gonna drain this juice, drain our rib. We're gonna dry it off with a couple paper towels. We're gonna put it on our rack that I've already prepared. And we're gonna put it in the oven. So let's go. Okay, we have drained our rib. I'm getting a couple of great paper towels here off my paper towel rack. And I'm gonna lay that raw rib on. Getting some more great paper towels. And I'm just going to pat dry. So I'm patting dry on both sides, the back and the front. And if you have a little more of, you know, the red pepper flakes, that is fine. You want to leave those on there if you do have some. If not, it went off from the paper towels, that's fine. But there's a couple here. I'm just going to go ahead and leave those on, just drying off the excess water or, you know, the juice that we had. We don't. Okay, I have a rack here that is got a shelf on it that sits up so it actually does not touch the bottom of the hot pan it's going to be. I put some aluminum foil around that bottom so if any juices drip, you know, from the paper towel. I've got this rib. I'm going to do like a uniform like because it's big and I don't want it to hang off. Perfect, great. Making sure it's on all of the rack. This is going to go into a 350 degrees oven. Now I'm showing you all guys how to do this at home in your own stove. But you can take this exact same rib if you want to. You can fire up the grill, put some smoke in it, do some hickory, or maybe you can do some apple wood, or maybe you can do some mesquite wood. And you want to smoke that rib. That is totally up to you. That it's fine. I would do that, but here today, the weather is not so great. It is raining. So we're going to do this in the oven. A nice way for people who just don't want to go out, or maybe you just don't feel like grilling. You can always do this same thing in your stove. Okay, this is going to be my Asian style sauce. I'm going to need 2 teaspoons of rice vinegar. Teaspoons. 2 teaspoons. That's 1. 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. A whole tablespoon of your famous soy sauce. If I was you, I would try to get the low sodium soy sauce. You can get any soy sauce. You can get Kikkoman, your favorite brand, any type of brand, but as long as it's low sodium. 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce. And this is a little thick, so bear with me. That's 1. And that's 2. 3 tablespoons of white granulated sugar. 1, 2, 3. Brown sugar, 3 tablespoons, the same as the white sugar. 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ground paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of Mrs. Dash blend, and a helping hand of Bloomer's chili powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. If you don't have white, you can also use black pepper. Okay, I'm going to be using 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. Tablespoon, yeah. So I want to make sure I even that out correctly. All right. And then I have some ginger. Ginger is so strong, so I'm going to use a small ginger and some small regular cloves of garlic, which I know I have garlic in here. But guess what? I'm going to mince this up, this garlic and ginger, into my little mincer. Now when you do this with this, it actually leaves a skin foam on your garlic. So it's not going to be that much. These are very, very little bitty cloves. See, but see that there it is right there. That's what we're looking for. Let me get my spatula here. I'm going to scrape that in there. It doesn't leave a lot. It leaves small. We're going to do the same with the ginger here. The ginger is a very strong ginger, so I only use a little bit. You know, I don't want to use a lot of ginger because ginger is very, very strong. You got to watch your hands too, because you can cut your hands open. Just a little ginger. If you don't have fresh ginger or fresh garlic cloves, just use 1/4 teaspoon of dry ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of, use the garlic that we said use. So just 1/4 teaspoon of garlic, and do the regular garlic that I told you, which that regular garlic on here was a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. Okay, once you got all that, we're going to be using 2 cups of chicken broth, any of your chicken broth that you like. You know, homemade chicken broth, canned chicken broth, or even bottled chicken broth. We're going to stir this and make sure this is all combined together. After about 30 minutes of your rib been in the oven, pull it out, take a cup of water and pull it in the bottom of your pan. It will not touch your rib because your rib is sitting on a baseboard. So pull some water at the bottom of the pan so the steam can moisten your rib. And finish cooking it for another 45 minutes. Or until tender and done. Check your rib every 15 or 20 minutes, checking the temperature of it, making sure it is tender and soft inside. Okay, after combining all the greens together, constantly stir it, make sure everything's combined. Put it on a low heat and stir until it comes to a boil. Okay, I got a very hot pan here. I'm just going to dump my sesame seeds into a dry hot pan with the stove on, and I'm going to start toasting these. Okay, I got them in a nice hot pan, and I just want to keep flipping them around. And you notice, if you go down close, you'll start to see some of them are getting like a brownish like. That's because I'm toasting those. Okay, you can take the pan off because the pan is still hot. I had it on a high heat, got the pan very hot, stuck those in there. I shook them a little bit, but then I got like my little wooden spoons. You know, I love wooden spoons. That's the base of my whole show, wooden spoons. And I'm just going to take these and put these into a little glass bowl. The pan is very dry, so I mean it was a clean, dry pan. There you go. Nice toasted, ready sesame seeds. And we're going to be using this also for our ribs. I'm taking this out because, see, the bones are away from it. So this is pretty much done. And I did cook it. I turned it down and I cooked it for another hour and a half on 250. I'm putting another final glaze on this. And I'm going to put it on a low broil because I want this sugar and this sauce to set in like, you know, you put your final glaze on it when you're grilling it, and you put it on the grill and it gives that great taste. So we're going to do that. Okay, so this is the rib that we took out, and I have let it sit for about 5 or 10 minutes. Now I'm going to let it sit for about 10 more minutes. Make sure it's not, we need those juices to reseal back into the meat. So let's wait another 10 minutes. I've got 2 of my tongs that I'm going to place this on this clean board. Getting that bone off here, great. Okay, so I've got this down, and it is cool for me to touch this rib. So I'm going to lift this up in a diagonal way, trying to, and I'm going to just cut the bones. Yeah, I just missed the bone. There we go. Let's have to line it up. Okay, so I had to turn it over. I was trying not to mess up the outside, but I'm just going to have to reglaze that. And when you're cutting the rib, you want to go between the bones, and you want to cut it between the bones. Oh, I can feel it so juicy and moist. Sometimes you'll get a little tough piece there, but you got to rock that knife. You got to rock that knife. Oh, there you go. So here they are, my Asian style. So here it is, my Asian style baby back ribs. Now, one last thing I want to say. If you happen not to like vinegar, you can substitute your vinegar with just straight up apple juice. And you can use some oranges. You can do it so many ways, but still use the barbecue sauce that is on the show. Hey, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want you all come back because guess what? You did this. You and me. We did this together. We made this. Come back so we can make great other shows. Hey, see you next time. Bye.